Stop scrolling right now, because we're about to uncover the strangest corner of 90s television. The shows that'll have you questioning whether they were real or just fever dreams from drinking way too much Surge. Everyone thinks they know 90s TV shows. You mention Full House and people start quoting catchphrases. Say Family Matters and suddenly everyone's an expert on Steve Urkel or Stefan Urkel. Let me know which one you prefer in the comments, but here's the thing. There's this whole secret universe of shows that only we remember. Shows that are like a secret handshake for 90s kids. Welcome to Remember When, where we dig up the pop culture gems that shaped our generation, and today, we're going deep into the vault for shows that'll make you question every TV memory you have. If you remember these, you definitely spent your afternoons glued to the TV, probably sitting way too close with a box of French Toast Crunch and your mom yelling you'll ruin your eyes. So let's kick things off with California Dreams, and before you say, oh, you mean that Saved by the Bell ripoff with guitars? Hold on to your scrunchies, because this show was wild. It started as this totally normal family show about the Garrison family and their garage band. Standard stuff, right? Well, you couldn't be more wrong, because somewhere during season 1, somebody at NBC had what I can only assume was a sugar rush from way too many fruit roll-ups and said, hey, what if we turn this into a real band? These weren't just actors pretending to play. These kids were doing live concerts while filming a weekly TV show. Matt was shredding guitars, Jake was laying down actual drum tracks, and when Jenny Kwan joined as Sam, Broadway-level vocals, people. The transformation was wild. One day they're filming a regular family sitcom, the next they're learning choreography between takes. The producers literally hired a full-time music supervisor whose only job was making sure these kids could actually play their instruments. Remember, this was the 90s. You couldn't just auto-tune your way to talent. And then things got really crazy. The band went on actual tours, like Pack Up the Bus, Sell Out Venue tours. They weren't just playing malls either. We're talking real concerts with thousands of screaming fans. Kids were showing up with homemade California Dreams t-shirts, singing every word to This Time and Rain. Now, fun fact, you know how most TV shows about bands fake the music? Well, not these guys. Every single performance was recorded live. If they messed up, they did another take. The drum sounds you heard? Actual drums. Those guitar solos? Actually played right on set. It was like watching American Idol, except everyone had a side ponytail and neon windbreakers. The show got so big, they released actual albums. Not just one, I said albums, that's plural. There were 3 of them. And get this, they charted on Billboard. Their song This Time was playing on actual radio stations between Boyz II Men and TLC. People were calling in to request songs from a fake band from a TV show. By the end, they weren't even pretending it was a sitcom anymore. Half the episodes were just excuses to get to the next musical number. But nobody cared because the music was legitimately good. You'd still listen to it today, kind of good. Now, if you thought a TV band going on tour was a little crazy, buckle up for On Our Own, the show that said, hey, what if we put an entire family of siblings on TV and let them basically play themselves? So picture this. 7 kids trying to stay together after losing their parents, with their oldest brother occasionally dressing up as their aunt to fool social workers. And yes, this was after Mrs. Doubtfire came out, but before anyone said, hey, maybe this isn't the most realistic solution. But here's what made this show different, and this is wild. The network literally built the show around a real family. The Smollett siblings weren't cast to play siblings, they were siblings, all 6 of them. Can you imagine the casting call for that? Needed, entire talented family who can all act. The best parts weren't even scripted. Those chaotic family dinner scenes, that constant sibling banter, that was real life with the Smollett siblings. The directors would just let the cameras roll because the real family chaos was better than anything they could script. You can't fake that kind of chemistry, especially when one kid is stealing another kid's mac and cheese live on camera. The bloopers were amazing because half the time you couldn't tell if the kids were messing up their lines or just being actual siblings. There's this one episode where they had to do 12 takes of a breakfast scene because the youngest kid kept actually eating all the cereal. That's not acting, that's just being a little brother. You had Journey, who'd later blow everyone's mind in Lovecraft Country, stealing scenes at age 8. Jazz, who's now this amazing food show host, was already showing off her hosting skills, bossing everyone around in the kitchen. And get this, the youngest Smollett couldn't even read his lines yet, but somehow still nailed every take. How? Well, because he was just being himself. But it wasn't all laughs. Sometimes they'd tackle serious stuff, and because they were real siblings, it hit different. There's this episode where they deal with their parents' anniversary, first one since losing them, and you're watching real siblings process real emotions. That's heavy stuff for a TGIF show. Now, finally, we have the show so nice they named it twice. Actually, they completely renamed it and changed half the cast, but we'll get to that part. The Torkelsons started as this charming show about a working-class Oklahoma family featuring a young Brittany Murphy as their neighbor. The main character, Dorothy Jane, would literally talk to the moon about her problems. Not on the phone, she'd just open her window and chat with the moon, and somehow it worked. These moon conversations weren't just cute either, they were deep. Dorothy Jane would be out there discussing everything from crushes to class inequality. One minute she's talking about her mom's financial struggles, the next she's analyzing the social hierarchy of junior high. This kid was having existential crises with the moon while the rest of us were watching cartoons. The show didn't shy away from real issues either. They dealt with money problems in a way most TV families never did. Like, there's this one episode where Dorothy Jane needs a new coat, and instead of magically finding money, her mom actually has to work extra shifts to afford it. In the 90s. When every other TV family apparently had unlimited funds. And let's talk about Brittany Murphy for a second. Before Clueless, before 8 Mile, she was playing this perfectly awkward teen neighbor who had more sass than screen time. There's this one episode where she organizes a protest over cafeteria food. It's like watching a future star being born, except she's wearing overall shorts and talking about mystery meat. But then, in peak 90s network logic, someone decided, you know what the show needs? Seattle. So they moved the whole family across the country, dropped half the siblings somewhere between Oklahoma and Washington, we never found out where exactly, and renamed it Almost Home. It's like if Full House suddenly moved to Miami and became Beach House with just DJ and Michelle. The weirdest part? Both versions kind of worked. The Oklahoma version was this sweet, quirky show about small town life. The Seattle version became this fish out of water story about class differences. Same Dorothy Jane, same moon, just more rain and coffee shops in the background. So there you have it. 3 shows that proved that the 90s were even weirder than we remember. A touring band disguised as a sitcom, a real family playing a fake family, and a show that basically played TV witness protection and changed its whole identity. These weren't just forgotten shows. They were glimpses into how weird and wonderful 90s TV could be. Where else could you find a fake band selling real albums, 7 actual siblings pretending to have a fake aunt, and a teenage girl getting life advice from the actual moon? Next time someone tells you that TV is weird now, remind them that in the 90s we had a show about a kid talking to the moon and we were totally fine with it. Drop a comment if you remember watching any of these shows, or if you're just now questioning all your childhood memories. And don't forget to subscribe, because we've got plenty more forgotten gems to uncover. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.